Hey guys,
Yeah, what's up?
you know where we're talking about Paladin today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a rather popular character that dipped into Paladin not too long ago. His name's Jabblefab.
Really?
Yeah, did you know that he has a special phrase he says every time he smites somebody?
Really?
No.
I
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah. I'd like to read it to you guys.
Okay.
I pray to you, the god of gnomes. Grant me the strength to protect my home. Family and friends depend on my might, so grant me this power. Holy smite!
Nice.
That was pretty good.
Hello and welcome to Travelers, Tips, and Tales. I'm Ben.
I'm Jake.
And Mike.
And today we're talking about Paladin.
Yo.
A class who takes their job way more seriously than anyone here.
Pretty much, yeah. We're a professional podcast.
Professional podcast, everybody.
So, what is a paladin? A paladin is someone who has devoted their life to a sacred oath that they have taken upon themselves, and through the following of said oath has gained the power to smite the crap out of everything.
Nice.
Most important thing about paladins to note, they don't necessarily have to have a god. You can devote yourself to anything as long as you are devoted enough. You can gain the powers of a paladin.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's, yeah, a lot of people don't really realize that. They're like, oh, I have to have a god, I have to have a god. No, you're not a cleric. You are a strong, independent paladin, and no one can tell you what to do.
Yeah.
So, a couple of really good abilities for paladin, in my personal opinion. You're going to need charisma, number one. You need to be charismatic. You need to be the biggest guy in the room, even if you're the shortest man around. You,
Thank you. That was for me, for sure.
And for Jabble Fabble.
For Jabble Fabble. Yeah, you need to have charisma because you have to, as a paladin, essentially convince the universe that you are so important that you deserve to have power.
Mm-hmm.
Even when no one else does. You have to be the most self-assured guy in the room. What about you guys? What do you guys think is the most important stat for a paladin?
I think, as always, Constitution. You generally, as a paladin, you're going to be up close fighting people, which means you got to be able to take a hit, which means Constitution is going to help out a lot.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I recently just made a paladin for a new game that I'm starting, which is actually one of the first games that I've ever played that didn't have either of you two in it.
Jacob's cheating on us.
He is. He truly is.
No. I'm branching out and teaching new players. See. But this paladin, I'm always a big fan of putting dex over strength any day, and I have been very stubborn with this paladin and doing my hardest to try and make sure that he can be a dex fighter and not a strength fighter. But for most paladins, you should go with strength.
I do want to mention before we get too far in, me, Mike, I have never in my life played a paladin, so I don't know anything about paladin.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played a session as one either yet, but I'm excited to.
All right. Thank you for sharing that you were very knowledgeable about this class we're talking about today.
We're better than we were on the Druid episode.
This is why you run this episode.
All right.
I'm here to learn.
Even if you are a Dex Paladin, though, you should still have a pretty high strength, because in order to wear heavy armor, there is a strength requirement. A lot of people don't know that. And Paladins can wear plate mail armor, which I believe requires at least a strength of 15.
Yeah. I mean, mine doesn't wear any armor, but you know.
The naked Paladin.
What race
the most
is he?
powerful of all.
He's a dragonborn, and he has the feet dragonborn or dragon hide. Is what
That's
it's called.
why he has natural armor.
Yeah, I was very stubborn. I was like, I gotta go for this specific build to make this work.
But so if you're normal like anyone else, pick strength. If you're Jacob, pick dex.
My strength still isn't terrible with him, but you know.
Yeah. All the other stats, of course, are as important as always, but as paladins, not as important as your charisma, mainly, because later on, you don't even need those other stats. You just add your charisma to everything, because you're just so good at it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a couple unique features that only paladins get, aka all of them, because they're paladins.
Pretty much.
Number one being Divine Sense. A little bit underrated, in my opinion, just how overpowered this ability is, how game-breaking Divine Sense can be. It allows paladins to detect creatures around them and determine whether they are celestial, fiend, or undead. That is... It doesn't sound like all that great. It's like, oh man, you know that this thing attacking you is technically an undead. Cool. But it gets broken when you realize that there are creatures from all of those types that just blend in with the population. Mm-hmm. Your DM might have that set aside as something very special. Let's say there's a vampire living in a city where normally everyone would be like, oh, there's no way a vampire could be here, and a paladin just comes along and he's like, I smell death.
Yeah.
It's coming from you.
Or just like this one homie that's hiding in the general public, like this key NPC.
Yeah. Let's say there's somebody who's like a celestial or something in your midst, and you're just like, oh, thank God they're here.
Yeah, like,
and they're like, shh, no.
Like this big key NPC of the game that's like gonna be a big plot twist towards the end of the game, and the paladin's just like, how you doing over there, non-humanoid?
Yeah. How are you doing over there? Literally the devil? We weren't supposed to know that, but we do.
At level 1.
At level 1. Yeah, that's a really broken ability, honestly. For roleplay alone, it is, like, unstoppably good.
Okay, I like that ability, but here are my ability. My ability is Lay on Hands, alright? And now, everybody knows that the hardest spot to fill in the party is probably the healer. And so, why not just splash a little bit of healer in your paladin? Okay? And it's the perfect type of healer, because you don't do any healing until they're dead. The way that Lay on Hands works is... you have a pool of healing power that replenishes after you take a long rest. With a pool, you can restore a total number of hit points equal to your paladin level times 5. So however many levels you stack in a paladin is however many you get. As an action, you can touch a creature and drop power from the pool to restore any number of hit points to that creature, up to the maximum amount remaining in your pool. Alternatively, you can expend 5 hit points from your pool of healing to cure the target of one disease of neutral or neutralize one poison affecting it. You can cure multiple diseases and neutralize multiple poisons with a single action, but you have to spend more more lay on hand points for each, one that you do. So like if you have 2 diseases, you can do it with the same action, but it costs 10. If that makes sense.
If you have 2 diseases, if you manage to get 2 diseases in D&D, what are you doing?
So the way you go about this is, right? The way you go about this, right, is that you don't heal anybody until they literally need it or they die, right? When they go down is when you use it. You walk over to their little corpse on the ground, you slap them, you give them 1 hit point, just enough to bring them back up and stabilize and fighting again, and you say, get back in there, and then there they go. You give them 1 more next turn when they go down again. It's that simple.
Or if you're a metagamey type of guy, you could heal them exactly how many hit points they have lost so far, just out of your pool. And you're like, hey, you're full health now.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I'm nice. Remember that. My oath demands it. Otherwise, you would be dead.
Remember, players, you can't tell anybody else in-game that you're at a certain level of hit points because that's metagame. What you can do is if you have a max of 23 hit points, you can be like, on a scale of 1 to 23...
Shut up.
That's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I was going to say. On a scale of, 97, I'm at about a 43.
Ben doesn't like it, because we do it in his game constantly.
So dumb. I hate it so much. It just makes me want to throw harder things at you guys. Put a field of anti-magic so no one can heal.
Hey, listen, I already got disintegrated.
I know. And it was sad, but also, yeah.
It was deserved.
Next ability. You get this, by the way, at level 2.
Lay on hands? Yeah.
No. The next one.
Well, yeah, lay on hands is 1.
Yeah, you get this at level 2, which, congratulations, by level 2, you've officially broken the game. You get an ability called Divine Smite. And it lets you, upon successfully hitting a target, you can expend one of your spell slots. By the way, you have spell slots. You're never going to need them for spells, so don't worry about that. You have spells, but you're not going to need them.
Yeah, who cares?
Who cares? You can smite the crap out of people. That's why no one cares about spells. You spend a spell slot, and you add for every spell level that you cast it at. What's it at, like? Yeah, you add 2d8 radiant damage. And another d8 for every level you cast above that, up to 6th, or up to 5th level, so up to 68 total radiant damage as you level up. You choose to do this after you hit. And the reason that's important is all you have to do is wait until you crit.
Yeah.
And then double the dice.
I've seen a good amount of people dip into fighter and get champion to up that crit chance.
Honestly, dipping into champion fighter is just excessive at that point. Like you don't need it. That's like dipping into rogue too.
But
you imagine a paladin rogue sneak attacking, like being an assassin or something.
Oh,
Plus you get your fighting style.
Yeah, no, that's so broken.
Plus you get the one from fighter.
Or I did the math. I think if you multi-class like paladin and cleric, you get your max level smite at like 10th level instead of 20th.
Yeah, Divine Smite is pretty useful, but hear me out. I love all of the aura abilities. Aura abilities are awesome.
Now would be a good time. Now would be a good time to mention paladins have an aura.
yeah. I'll go into that. Well, this is when it's introduced. Introduced.
Yes.
That's 6th
They're
level.
So charismatic, they just radiate magic all the time because
yeah. Starting at 6th level, this is why I love paladins too, just because of passive abilities. It's so awesome. Starting at 6th level, whenever you or a friendly creature within 10 feet of you is your aura, by the way, must make a saving throw. That creature gains a bonus to that saving throw equal to your charisma modifier, which is a minimum of 1. So even if you're trash for some reason and didn't have have a 10, 11 or less in your charisma, you still get 1. And then you have to be conscious for that to happen. And also, a thing to keep in mind for all of the future times that we go over aura, at 18th level, your aura increases to 30 feet, which is pretty dope. But yeah, that's aura of protection starting at 6th level.
Now, this is the oath that I find to be very interesting just because it can help you out a lot against certain types of enemies. This is the aura of courage. Starting at 10th level, you and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you can't be frightened while you're conscious. And at 18th level, the range increases to 30 feet. Being able to not be frightened is very good against very high level creatures.
I just like to point out, though, I'd like to take this opportunity. Being immune to the frightened effect does not mean you are immune to being afraid of things. It means you are so courageous that you're willing to stand and fight regardless.
Yes.
Let that be known. People that shall not be named that ruined my Halloween one-shot. Because they wouldn't be afraid of anything, even if it was terrifying.
That's just
rude.
Right.
I'm a little salty about that still.
I would like to say I was not there for that Halloween one-shot. I cannot be blamed for this.
You cannot. It's no one here, but it was someone.
Yeah, and then the final unique feature that Paladins have, among all their subclass features, is Cleansing Touch. Beginning at 14th level, you can use your action to end one spell on yourself or on one willing creature that you touch. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier. You regain expended uses when you finish a long rest. Wow. Any spell that lasts any given amount of time, you can just be like, nah.
Nah. Well, that's when the high charisma once again is just like, you should go away. You should go away now.
I just imagine you feel yourself being scryed on by a big bad, and you're just like, nah.
Yeah, or you get feeble-minded or something, and you're just like, I don't feel like being feeble-minded, so you just make it go away.
It's so good. It's so helpful.
Yeah. I wonder if... Oh my god. Wait. Can you read that back real quick? The specifics.
Let me go back to that.
I just had a thought, and I need to make sure that this is a thing before I say it.
So beginning at 14th level, you can use your action to end one spell on yourself or on one willing creature that you touch. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, minimum of once. You regain expended uses when you finish a long rest.
Uh-huh. Yeah, mm-hmm. I think that... Oh my god, hold on, let me check this. So, that has just made me realize something. You rereading that.
Yeah, what is it?
A paladin cannot be imprisoned. If you use imprisonment on a paladin, they can just end it.
Yeah.
Or if you use maze.
True.
Dude, a lich could trap a paladin inside their phylactery, and less than 6 seconds later, the paladin will just pop back out, being like, nah.
Or, if the paladin's smart, they'll wait, like, a while. Then they'll catch him surprised.
But you don't want to wait too long.
Yeah, don't want to wait too long. That would be a bad thing. Imagine how much a paladin's soul is worth to a lich if, like, actually managed to capture one.
Oh, God.
I don't know,
that'd be whack. But anyways, moving on to the subclasses. The oaths of the paladin. A paladin's oath is a sacred thing. And one very important thing about paladins, one that... Actually, I don't think we've brought this up with any class yet, because it's very important with... Well, no, druids. So, just like druids, paladins' roleplay is extremely important. Specifically when it comes to your oath. If you break your oath, you lose your power as a paladin. And don't be confused with oath breaker, because oath breaker is a little different, but for the standard paladin, they have a few sets of tenets, and if they break them, they lose their power. You get an oath breaker is if you take your oath and you completely disregard it, and you do the exact opposite, and you completely shatter your oath, and then you get cursed by an entity. That's how you become an oath breaker. But normal paladins, they just lose their power because it's like a small thing that's like, oh man, I'm sorry, and then you have to go redeem yourself. Well, that's important because every oath has their own, and every oath you choose, you have to follow those certain tenets. So, starting out with Oath of the Ancients. Oath of the Ancients is great. Do you guys know why?
Why?
What's up?
Because it's in the same category as Glamour Bard.
Ooh.
You get a little bit of Feywild in your paladin.
Heck
The
yeah, baby.
Oath of the Ancients devotes themselves to the tenet of good above evil, not really caring about law or chaos, because that's just what the Feywild is. It's just light. Everything is beautiful. Everything is wonderful. Here are some tenets of the Oath of the Ancients. Kindle the light. Through your acts of mercy, kindness, and forgiveness, kindle the light of hope in the world, beating back despair. Shelter the light. Where there is good, beauty, love, and laughter in the world, stand against the wickedness that would swallow it. Where life flourishes, stand against the forces that would render it barren. Preserve your own light. Delight in song and laughter, in beauty and art. If you allow the light to die in your own heart, you can't preserve it in the world. And be the light. Be a glorious beacon for all who live in despair. Let the light of your joy and courage shine forth in all your deeds. Basically, you just have to kind of be happy all the time.
Nice.
You can't ever have a bad day. If you have a bad day, you might lose your paladin powers because you're just feeling sad one day.
Must be optimist.
Yes, must be. All right. Now with this, when you take this, you get some channel divinity options. Now those are familiar with channel divinity with clerics. With paladin, it's a little different because clerics you can only use a certain amount of times per day. With paladins, there's actually no limit, which is absurd because they're, I think, way stronger than clerics. Channel divinity. The first one we have here is Nature's Wrath. You can use your channel divinity to invoke primeval forces to ensnare a foe. As an action, you can cause a spectral vines to spring up and reach for a creature within 10 feet of you that you can see. The creature must succeed on a strength or dexterity saving throw, its choice, or be restrained. While restrained by the vines, the creature repeats the saving throw at the end of each of its turn. On a success, it frees itself, and the vines vanish. Fun fact about being restrained. You count as incapacitated and grappled at the same time, which means Paladin has advantage, which means he has twice the chance to crit you, which means he has twice the chance to smite the crap out of you.
Yeah, and you have disadvantage on your little weak attacks against him trying to stop you from doing this.
Yes, indeed. And you can't run away.
Sure.
Other channel divinity, because you get 2. Turn the Faithless. You can use your channel divinity to utter ancient words that are painful for Fae and fiends to hear. As an action, you present your holy symbol, and each Fae or fiend within 30 feet of you that you can hear must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is turned for 1 minute or until it takes damage. What it refers to as turned, kind of the same thing that clerics can do with undead. It basically means they have to run away from you. They're afraid of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to use their dash action to try to run away. Yeah, and if there's nowhere to go, they use the dodge action only. They cannot attack you. They're just completely afraid of you. Another additional thing that comes with this particular turned effect is if its true form is concealed by an illusion, shapeshifting, or other effect, that form is revealed while it's turned.
Oh.
Yet another way to screw over your DM's carefully constructed plots. It's just like, I don't like it. I don't want you to be... And this one's specifically Fae, too, so even if you were dealing with a Fae and you didn't detect it with your normal divine senses, you're just like, you're turned, and you forced to turn back into a Fae. So now we all know. It's just whack. You also get an additional type of aura with this paladin. You get one with every kind. This one is called the Aura of Warding. At 7th level, ancient magic lies so heavily upon you that it forms an eldritch ward. You and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you have resistance to damage from spells.
Nice.
Which is good as hell.
That's super good, yeah.
It's so good. It's like, oh, you wanted to fireball? Well, guess what? We don't care. Also, at 18th level, it increases to 30 feet instead of just 10 feet.
Nice.
Like all other auras.
Yeah. And here's another interesting thing you probably didn't know about Paladins. They get their level 20 ability, not from just being a Paladin, but from their oath specifically. So every paladin has a different level 20 ability based on the oath that they take. This particular one is called Elder Champion. At 20th level, you can assume the form of an ancient force of nature, taking on an appearance you choose. For example, your skin might turn green or take on a bark-like texture, your hair might become leafy or moss-like, or you might sprout antlers or a lion-like mane. Using your action, you undergo a transformation. For 1 minute, you gain the following benefits. At the start of each of your turns, you regain 10 hit points. Which it does even if you have none, by the way. You can drop to 0 hit points, and at the start of your turn, you just regain 10.
Passive healing!
Whenever you cast a paladin spell that has a casting time of 1 action, you can cast it using your bonus action instead. So those spells that normally you wouldn't care about, you could start paying attention to those now. They don't stop you from whacking people anymore. Enemy creatures within 10 feet of you have disadvantage on saving throws against your paladin spells and channel divinity options. So those spells that suddenly are very good are even better. And once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. So, once per sleep, we'll call it once per sleep, you can just do this. And it's kind of busted, not gonna lie. They all are, but I like this one especially because I love the Feywild.
Yeah.
Oh man, your guys' thoughts on Oath of the Ancients?
Yeah, I mean it's just busted.
It's pretty solid.
Ways, busted in its own ways that will be separate from the way that mine are busted.
Same.
Moving on now, we have
Oath of Conquest.
Nice.
And I do think it is important because it was such a big deal in some of the past editions that paladins have to be lawful good. That is not true here.
I don't think it should be true at all in 5th edition, the way I look at alignment.
No, yeah. I mean, like, in total of 5th edition, it's not true.
I will say, paladins always have to be lawful, because that literally means you're following the code that you have. Even the chaotic-ish ones are still following a code. So they kind of have to be lawful, but they don't have to be.
Yeah.
You don't have
it's just that their law is different from others.
Yeah.
So, moving past that, the Oath of Conquest is essentially for anybody who values battle and being the mightiest warrior. The tenets of the Conquest Paladin are these. There's 3 of them. Douse the flame of hope. It is not enough to merely defeat an enemy in battle. Your victory must be so overwhelming that your enemy's will to fight is shattered forever. A blade can end a life. Fear can end an empire. How metal is that, man?
Jeez.
That is rough.
These paladins aren't screwing around.
No, Conquest is serious business, man. And you know how you know that? Because the next tenet is called Rule with an Iron Fist. Once you have conquered, tolerate no dissent. Your word is law. Those who obey it shall be favored, and those who defy it shall be punished, as an example to all who might follow.
This is giving me ideas for enemies that are actually just paladins that are, they're just Conquest paladins that are like, yeah, I did that. What are you going to do about it?
The last tenet is strength above all. You shall rule until a stronger one arises, and then you must grow mightier and meet the challenge, or fall to your own ruin. I think it is very important to note here that Conquest Paladins are also known to kind of associate themselves with the powers of the 9 hells, such as the Archdevil Bell. That's a thing that's listed in here for the lore, so...
All right.
Yeah, they're commonly Hell Knights.
How nice of them to just leave that there for you.
Yeah. So next is the Channel Divinities. The first one is called Conquering Presence. You can use your Channel Divinity to exude a terrifying presence. As an action, you force each creature of your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you to make a Wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, a creature becomes frightened of you for 1 minute. The frightened creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. Yeah, you're just a terrifying dude. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, we knew that already just from the tenets.
Which, I don't know if this is the same for all subclasses in here, but those tenets are burned into your upper arm.
Jesus. No, that's not normal at all.
Yeah, they're burned into your upper arm.
Cool.
The second channel divinity is called Guided Strike, and this is where this one starts to get really broken for me. You can use your channel divinity to strike with supernatural accuracy. When you make an attack roll, you can use your channel divinity to gain a +10 bonus to the roll. You make this choice after you see the roll, but before the DM says whether it hits or misses.
See, the part where you choose after you see is what's broken about it.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, oh, man, a 13? Nah, 23.
Yeah.
Garbage.
You could just use that on every attack. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's no limit to how much you could use, huh?
No. Yeah. All right. Well,
why would you not?
Dude, I would use it even if I'd already seen it. It'd be like, nat 20? Nah, I'm gonna
nat 30. Nat 30.
Yeah. I got a 56 to hit you. What?
All right. The next one is called the Aura of Conquest, and this is something that you get at 7th level. You constantly emanate a menacing aura while you're not incapacitated. The aura extends 10 feet from you in every direction, but not through total cover. If a creature is frightened of you, its speed is reduced to 0 while in the aura, and that creature takes psychic damage equal to half your paladin level if it starts its turn there. At 18th level, it, as all auras do, increases its range to 30 feet. Alright. Just take psychic damage for being near me.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm just
you're so like threatening. You make them hurt their brains.
Yeah. And then you remember how you mentioned how people might dip into champion fighter to get extended crits?
Oh, maybe.
Well, I have a ability here for you that you get at 20th level with Conquest Paladins. It's called Invincible Conqueror. You gain the ability to harness extraordinary martial prowess. As an action, you can magically become an avatar of conquest, gaining the following benefits for 1 minute. You have resistance to all damage. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can make one additional attack as part of that action. And your melee weapon attacks score a critical hit on a roll of 19 or 20. Once you use the feature, you have to long rest before using it again.
Now, not to put this down at all, Michael, but you can multi-class in a fighter way before 20th level.
Here's the thing, though.
Point that out for the listeners.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You just got the abilities of a
Totem of the Bear kind
of lower level fighter and a lower level Totem of the Bear barbarian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Essentially, you are unstoppable.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, it's pretty good, man. Not to mention, because you already get an extra attack as a paladin, you now have 3 attacks per turn.
For that minute.
Yes. But yeah, that's Conquest Paladin. Mm-hmm. I think I know what I'm playing if I play a paladin.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not jump too far ahead, because I might have just the paladin to stop you in your tracks. Oath of Devotion. The Oath of Devotion you get just for being devoted to people around you, to society, to a god even. Just to being generally a good person, and to understand what it means to be a paladin when people think of the quintessential paladin in their mind, The tenets of devotion are as follows. Honesty. Don't lie or cheat. Let your word be your promise. Courage. Never fear to act, though caution is wise. Compassion. aid others, protect the weak, and punish those who threaten them, i.e. you, Michael. Show mercy to your foes, but temper it with wisdom. Honor. Treat others with fairness, and let your honorable deeds be an example to them. Do as much good as possible while causing the least amount of harm. Duty. Be responsible for your actions and their consequences. Protect those entrusted to your care, and obey those who have authority over you.
I think I'm just a real-life devotion paladin.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, Ben said duty.
Duty.
We're professionals.
Your channel divinities are as follows. Sacred Weapon. As an action, you can imbue one weapon that you are holding with positive energy. Using your channel divinity for 1 minute, you add your charisma modifier to attack rolls made with that weapon, with a minimum bonus of +1. The weapon also emits bright light in a 20-foot radius and dim light 20 feet beyond that. If the weapon is not already magical, it becomes magical for the duration. That's really good for overcoming resistances, just saying. You can end this effect on your turn as part of any other action. If you are no longer holding or carrying this weapon, or if you fall unconscious, this effect ends. It's also really good if you don't have dark vision, like my paladin didn't.
Yeah.
Which we will talk about later.
Like a good amount of D&D races have, or lack of having.
The other half of your channel divinity is Turn the Unholy. As an action, you present your holy symbol and speak a prayer, censoring fiends and undead using your channel divinity. Each fiend or undead that can see or hear you within 30 feet of you must make a wisdom saving throw. If the creature fails its saving throw, it is turned for 1 minute or until it takes damage.
Nice.
Yeah. Not super great, but it works out.
This one kind of sounds like it's, so far at least, it's kind of putting a bit of a cleric in your paladin.
Just a bit.
Making your paladin a little extra holy today.
You also get the Aura of Devotion. Starting at 7th level, you and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you can't be charmed while you are conscious.
Nice.
Just can't be charmed. Begone, foul demonic succubus. You cannot defeat the holy chastity belt.
I'm sorry. You decided to go with succubus, and you completely missed the opportunity to just say, begone, thought.
I suppose if you were to smite a succubus, you could yell begone, thought, if you really wanted to. At level 20, you get Holy Nimbus, which actually sounds like something this paladin should say a lot. Holy Nimbus. At 20th level, as an action, you can emanate an aura of sunlight. For 1 minute, bright light shines from you in a 30-foot radius, and dim light shines 30 feet beyond that. Whenever an enemy creature starts its turn in the bright light, the creature takes 10 radiant damage. In addition, for the duration, you have advantage on saving throws against spells cast by fiends or undead. You can use this once per long rest.
Nice.
The Oath of Devotion is kind of what I think to be the quintessential paladin that everyone imagines when they think of paladin. Just this kind of incorruptible force of good in the world. And I really like that. I really like that about him. It's like, if you think of a paladin and you're like, man, I really want to play like a classic paladin. There you go. That's it. Right there.
Yeah.
It's already done for you. You don't even have to do anything fancy. It's just, right there.
I agree. So, I've got some paladins here for you. 2 of them, in fact. And if you ask me, these are kind of 2 paladins that are opposites of each other. And I'm going to start off with this one, Redemption. First off, let's start with the tenets of the Redemption Paladin. The first one is Peace. Violence is a weapon of last resort. Diplomacy and understanding are the paths of a long-lasting peace. Next one is Innocence. All people begin life as in an innocent state, and it is their environment or their influence of dark forces that drives them to evil. By setting the proper example and working to heal the wounds of a deeply flawed world, you can set anyone on a righteous path. The third one is Patience. Change takes time. Those who have walked the path of the wicked must be given reminders to keep them honest and true. Once you have planted the seed of righteousness in a creature, you must work day after day to allow that seed to survive and flourish. And the last one is wisdom. Your heart and mind must stay clear, for eventually you will be forced to admit defeat. While every creature can be redeemed, some are so far along the path of evil that you have no choice but to end their lives for the greater good. Any such action must be carefully weighed and the consciousness fully understood. But once you have made this decision, follow through with it knowing your path is just. And the channel divinities for this paladin, the first one is Emissary of Peace. You can use your channel divinity to augment your presence with divine powers. A bonus action, you grant yourself a +5 bonus to persuasion checks, for the next 10 minutes, which isn't bad. And then the second one is Rebuke the Violent. You can use your channel divinity to rebuke those who use violence. Immediately after the attacker within 30 feet of you deals damage with an attack against a creature other than you, you can use your reaction to force that attacker to make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the attacker takes radiant damage equal to the damage it just dealt. On a successful save, it takes half as much damage, which is a kind of busted. Just a little bit. Moving on to the aura of this Redemption Paladin. Starting at 7th level, along with all the other, subclass aura abilities, you can shield others from harm at the cost of your own health. When a creature within 10 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to magically take that damage. Instead of the creature taking it, the feature doesn't transfer any other effects that might accompany the damage, but the damage can't be reduced in any way. And also it goes down to 30 feet at 18th level. And for the 20th level ability of the Redemption Paladin, you have resistance to all damage dealt by other creatures, their attacks, spells, and other effects. And whenever a creature hits you with an attack, it takes radiant damage equal to half the attack you take from that attack. And sidebar, if you attack a creature, cast a spell on it, or deal damage to it by any other means than this feature, neither benefit works until you finish a long rest. So, it's like, never be the first guy to swing kind of a thing. And as long as they do it first, then they're going to get messed up.
Nice.
But yeah, this paladin, if you remember back to the fighter episode where I talked about nines, my fighter, this is kind of like what he would have been if he was a paladin. I can't remember if I did have him be this when he was at first when I was playtesting it, but this is kind of the idea and mindset that my nines character has. And yeah, I think all the abilities kind of go hand in hand with that very well. But I've got another subclass for you here. It's kind of the opposite of the same opinion, right? The Oath of Vengeance. Mm-hmm. You could already tell it's the opposite. The first tenet of this ability is fight the greater evil. Faced with the choice of fighting my sworn foes or combating a lesser evil, I choose the greater evil. The second one is no mercy for the wicked. Ordinary foes must win my mercy, but my sworn enemies do not. The third one is by any means necessary. My qualms can't get in the way of exterminating my foes. And the last one is restitution. If my foes wreak ruin on the world, it is because I failed to stop them. I must help those harmed by their misdeeds. And moving on to the channel divinities. The first one is Abjure Enemy. As an action, you present your holy symbol and speak a prayer of denunciation. Using your channel divinity, choose one creature within 60 feet of you that you can see. That creature must make a wisdom saving throw unless it is immune to being frightened. Fiends and undead have disadvantage on this saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is frightened for 1 minute or until it takes any damage. While frightened, the creature's speed is 0 and it can't benefit from any bonus to its speed. On a successful save, the creature's speed is halved for 1 minute or until the creature takes any damage. It doesn't say that its speed is restored if it takes damage if it fails. So, keep that in mind. The second channel divinity is Vow and Enmity. As a bonus action, you can utter a vow of enmity against a creature you can see within 10 feet of you. Using your channel divinity, you gain advantage on attack rolls against that creature for 1 minute until it drops to 0 hit points or falls unconscious. Pretty straightforward. Get that guy and mess him up.
Hey, get that guy.
Get him. The 7th level ability actually isn't an aura, but it is a Relentless Avenger. By 7th level, your supernatural focus helps you close off a foe's retreat. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, you can move up to half your speed immediately after the attack as part of the same reaction. The movement does not provoke opportunity attacks. So, making sure that the bad guy don't get away. You feel me? And the 20th level ability for this one is Avenging Angel. At 20th level, you can assume the form of an angelic avenger. Using your action, you undergo a transformation. For 1 hour, you gain the following benefits. I speak good, I promise. Wings sprout from your back and grant you a flying... I'm really stumbling through this, I'm not going to lie. Wings sprout from your back and grant you a flying speed of 60 feet. You emanate an aura of menace to a 30-foot radius. The first time any enemy creature enters that aura starts its turn there during a battle. The creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or become frightened of you for 1 minute or until it takes any damage. Attack rolls against the frightened creature have advantage. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you take a long rest. So, where they kind of go like opposites of the same coin, where one is like seeing the good in everyone, and vengeance is like never give them a chance to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Kind of an idea. I think you would like vengeance a lot as well, Michael.
I still think Conquest is my favorite.
Yeah.
I do think it's kind of funny it's called Vengeance when they literally haven't done anything to you yet.
Yeah.
Well, the idea is that they were already your foe from the start, right? That's what I think.
Maybe, but part of it kind of sounds like, hey, this guy might do something bad. I better kill him.
You never give him the chance. See, now you're getting it.
I just don't think it should be called Vengeance if they literally haven't done anything to avenge.
It's the Oath of Violence.
Yeah, well, I thought that was Conquest. I'm sorry. What is this?
No, that's the Oath of Total Power. Anyways, Path of the Oathbreaker for Paladins. An Oathbreaker is a paladin who breaks his or her sacred oaths to pursue... God, now I'm... Jacob.
I've infected you.
Breaks his or her sacred oaths to pursue some dark ambition or serve an evil power. Whatever light burned in the paladin's heart has been extinguished. Only darkness remains. A paladin must be evil and at least 3rd level to become an Oathbreaker. The paladin replaces the features specific to his or her sacred oath with Oathbreaker features. So, you can basically take this oath at any time, because you don't even get to choose an oath until you're 3rd level anyways.
Yeah.
But if at any point down the line you're like, I'm kind of tired of my oath, just go ahead and break it, and now you're an Oathbreaker. I mean...
Well, here's the thing about that, though. You can't just break the oath, right? You can't just stop following it, because then you lose your power. The thing about that is you have to break it in a kind of spectacular way. You kind of have to be like, all right, so I know my oath said don't kill children and drink their blood because I want to, but I kind of want to. That's the kind of messed up you have to be in order to become an Oathbreaker.
Or you can just write it all in your backstory.
True. You could do that.
Yeah. Anyway,
start off the bat.
We have a couple of channel divinities here, because Oathbreaker has no tenants. Mm-hmm. The first channel divinity is called Control Undead. As an action, the paladin targets one undead creature he or she can see within 30 feet of him or her. The target must make a wisdom saving throw, and on a failed save, the target must obey the paladin's commands for the next 24 hours, or until the paladin uses this channel divinity option again. An undead whose challenge rating is equal to or greater than the paladin's level is immune to the effect. You basically just get to control zombies.
Heck yeah.
And other undead creatures. Because I understand that there's more than just zombies. Your other channel divinity is called Dreadful Aspect. As an action, the paladin channels the darkest emotions and focuses them into a burst of magical menace. Each creature of the paladin's choice within 30 feet of the paladin must make a wisdom saving throw if it can see the paladin. On a failed save, the target is frightened of the paladin for 1 minute. If a creature frightened by this effect ends its turn more than 30 feet away from the paladin, it can attempt another wisdom saving throw to end the effect on it. That's pretty lit. Being able to just, frighten people. Yeah. Same thing as Conquest.
Yeah.
Next we have the Aura of Hate that you get at 7th level. The Paladin, as well as any fiends and undead within 10 feet of the Paladin, gain a bonus to melee weapon damage rolls equal to the Paladin's Charisma modifier, a minimum of +1. A creature can benefit from this feature only from one Paladin at a time, and at 18th level, the range, of course, increases to 30 feet. So you just deal more damage.
I'm with it.
I mean, if there's undead that your party's fighting, then your undead that you're fighting also benefit from it, but so do you.
I like damage.
I mean, you get the damage.
I like damage.
So it's damage?
Damage.
Damage.
At 20th level,
around the corner.
At 20th level, the Oathbreaker gets an ability called Dreadlord. The Paladin can, as an action, surround himself or herself with an aura of gloom that lasts for 1 minute. The aura reduces any bright light in a 30-foot radius around the Paladin to dim light. Whenever an enemy that is frightened by the Paladin starts its turn in the aura, it takes 4d10 psychic damage. Additionally, the Paladin and creatures he or she chooses in the aura are draped in deeper shadow. Creatures that rely on sight have disadvantage on attack rolls against creatures draped in this shadow. While the aura lasts, the Paladin can use a bonus action on his or her turn to cause the shadows in the aura to attack one creature. The Paladin makes a melee spell attack against the target. If the attack hits, the target takes necrotic damage equal to 3d10 plus the Paladin's Charisma modifier. After activating the aura... After activating the aura... The Paladin can't do so again until he or she finishes a long rest. You know what that ability sounds like to me? Dark Shadow from My Hero Academia.
I mean,
Shadow's just attacking your enemies.
I mean, I don't know about all that, but we'll see.
In before, he's just an Oathbreaker Paladin.
We shall see about that. Anyways, would that be all for Oathbreaker, my good sir?
That is indeed it for Oathbreaker. We did leave one ability out of everything, trying to get you guys to go look at them, as well as the spells.
Yeah, we left the spells out. So you get special spells for each.
And the 15th level ability.
Also, keep in mind there is another subclass for Paladin. It's the Oath of the Crown, and it's part of Sword Coast Adventures. So if you want to check out what that is, go check it out in Sword Coast Adventure guide.
Yeah, that one.
The Skag. As it is common.
For how to roleplay a Paladin, I mean, follow your oath, man. I don't know.
Or don't.
Or don't. Technically, they're both a thing you can do or not do. It's up to you. Yeah. But everything about your Paladin kind of has to involve that oath. If you don't have an oath, you're not a Paladin. You're just a fancy fighter.
Follow your tenets.
If you want to know how to roleplay a Paladin, choose Conquest, become the strongest person, and then crush anybody who gets in your way.
If you want to find out how to be a Paladin, play Redemption, be a really swell guy.
So, welcome now to our next part of our show. Ben's low-level magic item corner.
Yo.
Oh, yeah. What's up?
So I'm not gonna lie.
What do you got for us today, boy?
I'm not going to lie. Paladin is one of those classes that doesn't really need low-level items. What they need is, like, broken items, because otherwise they're kind of useless. But I tried my best.
Okay.
All three of these items have been included before. But
okay,
they're all pretty good, so we'll go with that. The first item, because all paladins wear heavy armor unless you're dumb.
Hey, that's me.
Is adamantine armor. Because what's better than having a walking tank that heals itself? A walking tank that heals itself and can't be crit. Ever.
Nice.
That is what's better. Not to mention, like I said before, it only costs 500 gold. Which, I mean, full set of plate mail armor coated in adamantine is a 2,300 gold investment, but worth it. I'm being screamed at.
Cameo today, Ben's cat.
Indeed. The second item we have for you guys today is the Gauntlets of Ogre Power. Because all paladins should use strength, unless you're dumb.
That's me again.
And the Gauntlets of Ogre Power are great for low level, because they automatically put your strength to 19, unless it's already above 19.
In which case, good on you.
Yeah, in which case, good on you. Plus, the Gauntlets of Ogre Power are part of a 3-item combo that allows you to wield a very powerful weapon later on, which I'm sure all paladins would love to wield. So, that's a good way to start that off. Then finally, we have the Weapon of Warning, which can be any weapon. Any weapon at all. But it makes sense that the paladin, being their aura-tastic, charismatic self, that literally is just so charismatic and aware of their surroundings all the time that they're just improving everybody's stats passively just by existing. That as soon as combat starts, they would get a little spider sense in the back of their head. It's like, somebody wants to take our stuff. We should smite them. So yes, Weapon of Warning. But it means you can never be surprised on a surprise round. You always know what's going on.
No, Ben, I feel like in this little section, I feel a little attacked. By this whole strength is the one that's important. Let me plead my case, okay, with the feat that I took. Okay, the dragon hide feat.
We're not here to talk about your paladin.
I'm gonna do it anyways.
We're here to talk about Ben's paladin.
I'm the editor, so I'm not gonna cut it. I'm just a quick number crunch thing. If I've got 20 decks, that's a +5, and it's a 13 plus decks, then guess what? My AC 18, just like if I had plate mail. Go ahead. I've pleaded my case.
But anyways, you can still be crit.
That's true.
The fool. The fool.
That's true.
Anyways. Yes, today we will be talking about a paladin of mine. One that I have gotten art for and that I will and can share on our social media if you guys are interested. His name is Boulder. Boulder Halfhammer, the brother of Brick, my first ever character, which I've talked about before.
Yeah. Boulder
grew up in the same village that Brick did, up in the mountains. Specifically, I believe they're called the Northern Mountains in Forgotten Realms. And he grew up on the peak of one of these mountains in his Goliath tribe. He's a Goliath. Until he was a young Goliath, about 16 years old, when he started having dreams. And he was receiving messages from the god Helm. And Helm believed that Boulder had a better chance of helping people, serving his community, protecting people. Helm is the god of protection and defense, and defending those who cannot defend themselves. And Boulder felt very called by this. He was literally being called on by a god. So he left his home when he was pretty young, and he traveled down to Neverwinter, where he stayed for some time, learning from the other paladins of Helm, the followers of Helm there, and he became a paladin. The same place that one of Bailey's characters also became a paladin, that ended up becoming Brick's best friend and companion in his adventuring days. Small world, I know. Both paladins of Helm. So, Boulder, I played him in the campaign Storm King's Thunder. Oh boy, I did not see the ending of that one coming. and not the ending of the story. I mean, the ending for Boulders in particular. So Brick has this thing where he became the leader of his village, but Brick is not very good at it. He should never have been. He's kind of forced into it. He inherited it. He didn't want it.
You're welcome.
So with Boulder, I was like, this time he's not going to lead anybody. He's literally just a servant of the people. He's just a paladin of the god of protection. He's here to help people. He's here to follow his oath and be good. And he worked for a while until at some point in the story, we raided a hill giant camp. And we managed to kill the leader of the hill giants. And our little goblin friend, who's played by our friend Jakar, he was like, I'll be the leader of them. And our DM was like, they'll never accept a goblin as the leader of these hill giants. Like, that's never going to happen. And I, being a Goliath, means technically I'm part giant, at least very far back in the line. So my party unanimously decided, without asking, that I would be the new leader of the hill giants. And they presented me as such, just kind of shoving me out there. They handed me this big horn, and they handed it to me and shoved me, and they're like, you go. And I was like, wait, what?
Sounds about right.
Yep. So I accidentally became the leader of the hill giants, which afterwards, of course, Boulder took very seriously, because the best way to keep the hill giants from rampaging is to make sure that they have everything they need and they're taken care of, and that is following his oath, technically.
I was in this party, and I don't remember us deciding. I thought it was kind of like, I thought it was an NPC who kind of like thrust it upon you, and then you were like, well, I guess we're here now.
It was pretty much the only option.
Yeah. I don't remember us going, Boulder will do it.
Yeah, they kind of just handed it to me, and I was like, oh, crap. That's just great. But I did my best, and I spoke on behalf of the party, and it was a couple of times when my paladin-y aura actually saved us a lot, because our DM was really cool and was like, your aura actually influences how people see you.
Yeah,
I talked my way out of a dragon fight. I talked my way out of a giant fight. I talked my way out of a giant dragon fight until the very end. I also cited. There was also one time when we were like really low level too, where we went to his town. Jacob, do you remember the vampire attack in the middle of the night?
Yes.
At the inn. Yeah. So
I remember it because I almost died, and I could have easily not done it with an ability in my subclass.
Yeah, I remember it because I was smiting the living crap out of that vampire. I was like, vampire? Well, guess you won't be regenerating ever. Every turn I hit it,
I have spell slots.
Smite. I think I critted eventually, and I was like, max level smite. And we fought this thing into a standstill, and eventually it ran off, and we were all so dead. We were like, nope, we're not chasing it. We're good.
Yeah.
We never got an explanation as to why a vampire attacked a bunch of level 3s, but hey, we survived it. We were good.
Were we that low? I couldn't remember.
We were pretty low, dude.
I think we might have been 4 or 5, but not much over that.
A vampire's like a CR 13, dude. That's crazy.
We lived.
Our DM is insane.
We lived.
We did live. But that is the story of Boulder. Not that interesting, but he was pretty badass, if I have to say. In most combat situations, he was kind of useless because he couldn't really he didn't have any range. And a lot of the time, it was in like little caves where it was dark, and he's like, well, I can only see what's around me, so I'd go light up my sword, but, you know. And a lot of the times I'd stay back and kind of heal. But the moment something stepped up to Boulder, he was just like, yeah, yeet.
Just which I loved.
The crap out of it.
Because I was a ranged character. I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Protect me.
Well, that, and we had this crazy little goblin named Lou Garrix with us that would just run up and just start attacking everything.
Yeah.
He was a goblin that wielded a giant slaying greatsword, and
he
was a barbarian. He was so insane.
Very cool.
I love that campaign. It was really short. Our DM
was really short,
long, but I had a great time.
It was short but well lived.
Yeah, I remember at one point when my oath came to bite me in the ass. One of the oaths is honesty. You have to be true to your word always. Mm-hmm. And I think it was you and another party member. So I was like, I'll buy you guys dinner. I'll buy you guys a nice dinner. Don't worry about it. I'll treat you guys. I got paid. I don't need to buy anything. Let's go. So we went out and we took you to like the nicest place in town. We sat down and we ordered our food and we were all role-playing it out. And I was like, yeah, bring us a bottle of wine, right? And then afterward, I was like, all right, how much do I owe you? And they were like, 15 gold. And I was like, oh, God. I was like, oh, crap.
I think we all pitched in and we got it.
No, I paid it, but I paid and I had 3 silver left over. It was like on the money. Yeah. I was like, oh no, that's so close. Can you imagine losing your paladin powers because you can't pay a check?
Yikes.
That would have been so bad. Because if you guys had pitched in, technically I would have broken my oath.
True. I think we gave you. I think my character might have given you some gold though afterwards. Or something.
Afterwards, I think you did, but at the time I was like, oh no.
This campaign also included my character, literally the least thought I've ever put into a character.
Okay, but the coolest, I would say, one of the coolest.
He was just a dude from modern times. He wore a hoodie and some jeans. He was just like, "What's up?" Finger guns. Hey.
He also Eldritch blasted people from 1,000 feet away.
Yeah, he was a warlock. It was just like, "What's up?"
Oh, another really cool thing that happened. At the very end, we were fighting a big old dragon, and you cast Fly on Boulder, so Boulder flew up and started smiting it in the sky.
Well, because, I had to cast it at a higher spell slot anyway, so I might as well.
Yep, so it was just a flying paladin, and this dragon was like, oh no.
And you were like...
And then, oh yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Paladins are very fun. They can be tricky sometimes. They're very fun to roleplay. And honestly, if you're not used to roleplay, Paladin's a great way to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a structure to follow all the time. And it's people might get annoyed, like, oh my god, he's following his tenets again. But it's like, that's the whole point, dude. Chill.
Don't want to lose your power.
Yeah. You want me to not have power? You want me to not smite people when you need me to? That's what I thought. So yeah, any closing statements from you guys on Paladin?
I just like it. It's another big damaging class that also does a lot of support. And I put it off for a long time, and I'm really glad that I'm getting into it now. I'm really excited for it, personally.
And Mike, will you be trying it at some point now that you revealed you haven't?
Well, here's the thing. Probably not. I'd like to, but the truth of it is, we have so many games in the queue right now. I already have characters made for literally all those games.
Oh man!
So I probably won't be playing a paladin for a while.
Michael's gonna come up and play another tank or bard/sorcerer. Oh boy! Oh, he's multi-classing both of them now. Wow!
Wow! Going for the ultimate
or
archer
any of the three of them together.
All right, screw you guys. You guys can find us on YouTube at Travelers Tips and Tales. You can find us on Instagram at Travelers Tips and Tales. You can go to Facebook, search up Travelers Tips and Tales, and you'll find us there. You can go to Twitter at Tips Tales. You can go to Tumblr, Travelers Tips and Tales. You can go to our Patreon, Travelers Tips and Tales, which, Ben, I believe we have a new patron now.
Yes, we do, in fact, which... we actually gained this one back, so we're excited about that. My mom!
Yo!
Our biggest supporter.
Hi, Ben's mom.
Shout out to Ben's mom.
Hi, my mom.
Hey.
I love how Ben's
Thank
hi,
you.
Ben's mom.
Yes, she is a patron on the $50 level. Which, fun fact about the $50 tier for anyone who has never looked, you get to talk to all 3 travelers if you want to. You get to schedule that. You either get to talk to each of us one separately or all of us together. My mom paid for this service. And the thing she said when she did was, "So I get to talk to my son for an hour every."
Yeah, I was gonna say, Ben, what did you do to make it to where your mom had to pay you money to get you to talk to her?
She's paying $50 to talk to you,
man. She's your mom, dude.
I didn't do anything, I swear.
If you guys are concerned about Ben and his mom's relationship, send us an email about it at travelerstipsandtales@gmail.com.
Or sign up on Patreon and you can talk to me one-on-one and question me about what I did personally.
Yeah, and if you wanna check out some things that we're working on, we're gonna try and post some new projects and stuff there. Go to travelerstipsandtales.com. It's our new website that we hope you like. We're gonna post homebrew stuff that's different from the homebrew stuff we post on Patreon.
So it's not cramping up on the things that you can get from Patreon, but just like a little dabble, so you can see what kind of things you could expect if you want to be a patron. And also, just a bunch of other stuff on there.
Yeah. So, that's all I have.
Until next time. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Thanks, Ben's mom.